Hi, I'm John Byrne with Poets and Quants. I'm on the campus of the University of Illinois at the Gies College of Business. And I'm here for the first of 3 live stream events this afternoon from campus. The first session will be about undergraduate education at Gies, and we have 2 great guests to talk about that. And then we'll have 2 live stream sessions on the iMBA, probably the most affordable, high-quality online MBA in the market. And we'll bring back the dean, who I'll introduce in a moment. And we'll also have a panel of current students and recent graduates to talk about what the experience is like. Right now, we're going to focus on undergraduate education. I have to my immediate right Jeffrey Brown, the Dean of the Gies College of Business, and next to him, Kevin Jackson, who's the Associate Dean of Undergraduate Studies. Welcome.
Thank you.
Thanks. Yeah, welcome.
So you have a brand promise, and the brand promise is everywhere. Yeah. It's on the elevator doors, it's on the buses even, in Champaign. And it's simply business on purpose. What do you mean by that?
So it means a couple of things. First of all, it means we're intentional about everything that we do. And it also means that we try to instill in our students a greater sense of purpose that, I think that being in business is a noble calling, but it is about more than just the bottom line. It's about helping our students really understand their role in a company, their role in society, discovering their why they want to do what they want to do, and help them make a difference in the world.
I like that, discovering your why.
Yeah.
Why is why so important, and what may be less important?
The why is really important because it's, at the end of the day, it's what really motivates people. I mean, if you're passionate about what you're doing, if you see how the activities that you do day to day connect to some larger purpose, some larger meaning in life, you're going to stay motivated even during the inevitable difficult times in any career.
True. And I think that resonates really greatly with millennials.
It does. Yeah, it absolutely does. And there's also work out there showing it matters a lot for organizations as well. The organizations that can really tie their business to a larger purpose, whether it's meeting a consumer need, solving a societal problem, it's a really powerful force for getting organizations to work together toward a common goal.
Now, how do you teach that? How do you ingrain that in people?
I'll let Kevin speak to this some as well, but I'd say in everything that we do. And it starts by talking about it a lot. It starts by reminding them about it, but it really goes to the way we teach, to the work that we do with them outside of class, to the messages that we send when Kevin or I or others are talking to our students. But you might want to.
There is a sense about knowing what the right answer is when you're part of a business school, right? I'm supposed to have my concern around profit margin and the bottom line. And I think the message that Business on Purpose provides is that if you have a passion or a cause, then you don't have to check that at the door. It is seeing business as a tool that allows you to pursue your passions or your causes in a sustainable way, in a way that you don't have to. You can make it a hobby, but it doesn't have to be a hobby. You can kind of use the tools that you learn as a business student to make it something that you can do sustainably throughout your life, professionally.
I think it's worth saying, too, because people who aren't in business or haven't been exposed to it often have the stereotypical view of what it is.
True.
And more often than not, it's a negative view. It's capitalism, it's greed, it's making a profit at any cost. And the students who are attracted to this field are anything but that.
Yeah. That's right. I mean, as you pointed out, especially among millennials, we know that having a connection to a bigger purpose is really important to them. And I'll tell you, it's not just, youthful idealism. It was just a couple of weeks ago that a CEO roundtable came out with a statement, some of the CEOs of some of the biggest companies in America saying that we need to have a broader conversation about the set of stakeholders that matter to business. We've historically had this model, which has been very useful, and as an economist, I understand it, about shareholder value and that being the primary goal. But I think there's a recognition that we do need to think about a broader set of stakeholders, given some of the challenges that we face as a country, as a world.
Yeah, that's really true. Now, one thing you recently did was to redesign the undergraduate curriculum. Yeah. Everyone knows business is changing rapidly. It's driven by technology change, by globalization. frankly, by economic cycles and governments. So what have you done to the curriculum to bring it up to date?
Well, wow. We have an hour, right?
It's a lot.
So just in the last couple of years, there's just been a real intentional, attempt to give students the best experience and the best opportunity to succeed in a more contemporary business world. So things that would entail would be things like data analytics and having students become at least conversational, but with the opportunity to become fluent in a lot of data analytics.
Which has become very hot.
Absolutely.
I mean, we are overwhelmed by data. Most companies still aren't harnessing it for decision making. They're overwhelmed by it as well.
That's right.
So going forward, every single student in the Gies College of Business, starting with this year's freshman class, will have a full year of business analytics during their sophomore year. And then that
2 semesters,
provides,
not only one.
It's 2 semesters, it's a full year. And then having that as a baseline, that then allows our faculty in other areas, whether it's accounting or finance or marketing, to then offer electives that go deeper in marketing analytics or financial analytics. And so it's one of several things we did in our undergraduate curriculum. You may want to talk about the core
Cohorts.
courses as well.
Yeah, so we've had some, traditionally we've had a first-year experience course that all freshmen would take as they come into the college. And as a faculty, we decided that to meet some of the other needs, some of the other skills that our students were required to find success, to add to that one cohort course, we're adding 3 additional cohort courses. Their Business 101 is the first course, and the others are, each year, sophomore, junior, senior, they'll take a similar type of cohort level course. Each of them having different emphasis. One would be kind of a simulation type of course where they were given a business problem that they have to solve in a simulated way. Then an experiential learning course where they actually take some of those experiences from that simulation and apply it to a real world setting, which is, it's going to be incredible for all the students to engage with an actual company to solve a business
experiential
problem.
learning, which you guys have done a lot of over many years in your MBA program.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, we really, I think we're one of the early pioneers in the area. It goes back 25 years or more, but it's to be able to do it on this scale where we're going to have, as juniors, 800 plus students all participating in a client-based project. We wouldn't have been able to do that had we not built up this incredible experience over the last couple of decades.
Jeff, I'm wondering how much hair you're going to lose over that, because the logistics,
I don't have that much
just
left
the
to lose,
logistics
but-
of that are nightmarish.
Yeah, but
right?
but the thing is, we first of all, we have a fantastic team, and we have been doing it through Illinois Business Consulting as a non-curricular activity for many years, which was actually we ran it out of Gies College of Business, but it was open to students from across campus. And so even before we started this effort, we were running something like 50 projects a year. Oh, wow. And we'll have to increase that to maybe as many as a couple hundred projects a year, but we know how to do it. And so it's just about executing. Part of the motivation for all of this, and you can weigh in as well, is when I'm out there talking to our alumni, talking to business leaders, when you ask them, what are you looking for in your new employees? The most common answer I get is not, we need them to know finance or accounting or marketing. If they talk about a skill today, it is data analytics. But what they're usually saying is, we need students who have a certain amount of confidence, a developing sense of business acumen, the ability to communicate, the ability to work in teams, all those things that are sometimes called soft skills, although I don't like that term because they're actually really, really important. And whether it's working in teams on the simulations or working in teams with real client-based projects, what a great opportunity for them to learn that. It gives them each an opportunity to develop leadership skills, to learn to work as a team, how to resolve conflict in a productive way, how to present yourself professionally to a client. Those are really important things that are going to be learned along the way in each of these core classes.
And thinking critically,
Yeah,
often, when we think about a skill, often we think about it in terms of being able to answer questions, but being able to ask the right questions. Sure. Sometimes you only get that from these types of experiences where it's real time, it's fluid, it's ambiguous, and students are going to have to navigate that. Yeah.
And Kevin, you mentioned that Business 101, which is one of the things we're talking about here, is in the freshman year. So I should remind everyone that you have a direct admit program for your undergraduate school, and that on an annual basis you admit 600 students. 200 ultimately transfer in from the university, and 100 from outside.
That's right.
So it's a pretty sizable undergraduate school.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think in any given time we're up around, between 31 and 3,200 students in total in the undergraduate program.
So Business 101, let's just take that for a moment. What are you going to teach me? Is it professional responsibility? Is that part of it?
Yes, but it's helping you define what that is. Where we think of professional responsibility, I think it's often easy to boil it down to the things you shouldn't do. But professional responsibility is also about things that you should do as a professional, as a person, and how you engage with the company, the organization that you serve, but also how you engage with the community that you serve. So helping students grow a kind of a broader perspective with what should be a goal in the business enterprise.
Yeah. So right there, you're talking about stakeholder orientation as opposed to a shareholder orientation.
Yeah, and it's in my view, I would say it's in addition to a shareholder orientation. I love the Business 101 program. It's not quite as clean as I'm going to portray it, but you can think of there being 3 parts to the course. And the first part is we're not telling people what values they should have or how to live their lives, but we're helping them articulate what's important to them. And the second part of the course is a lot about thinking about the values of an organization and an organization's responsibility and so forth, and in some cases how their values match up with that, because that idea of having a fit is really important for employee satisfaction and motivation and performance going forward. And then the final part of the course is really, really thinking about very broadly the idea of stakeholders and thinking about the role in society. And so, we've had them do poverty simulations and all kinds of things just to give them a sense about the bigger world in which they live, the way that businesses can productively and positively help impact societal problems while making money along the way.
Now, how did this actually get developed out of the curriculum review? I mean, was there a lot of inputs from corporate recruiters, from students, from alumni? Is this something that faculty dreamed up? What exactly, how did it come about?
All of the
I was going to say yes.
Yes, okay.
Yeah, about, it must have been 4 years ago, the college put together a group of faculty and that were responsible for connecting with other stakeholders, students, alums, corporate partners, and gaining information. And then based upon that information, trying to think outside of the box about what we can deliver to students, what experiences that we can give them that best prepare them. I think what came out of that were these ideas of one, having a skill, and by the way, 4 years ago, that was kind of ahead of the curve to be thinking that much about data analytics and its importance. But to think about data analytics and its role, its likely role in being successful in business, but also about these other skill sets that we've mentioned. But the final piece was also about community and how do we build the right culture for our undergraduate students. And so things like these cohort courses provide platforms by which we can give students better opportunities to work together towards common goals and set the right tone of hey, we have a stake in each other's success. You know, we're in a situation where we don't have to have our students compete with other students for jobs as if it's a zero-sum game, but we can actually celebrate when other students have success.
And that is a really important part of the culture here at Gies, which is our students are incredibly collaborative and helpful to each other. I mean, when you have a 99% job placement rate, they all know they're going to get jobs. And so there's not this sense that they have to sort of get ahead of the person next to them, but rather they're all working to achieve and excel, but they're doing it together. So it's not at all uncommon to walk through our beautiful atrium down there and see students working, and you go over and talk to them and you realize they're actually preparing for the same interview and they're helping each other, right? And most of them, it doesn't even cross their mind that if I help you, that in any way reduces my chances. And that's part of being intentional. That's part of business on purpose. It's getting our faculty and staff and our students to think about it in that way.
You know, as I sit here and I think about what you're doing with the new curriculum, with Business 101, 201, 301, 401, what I really take away is that you're speed tracking maturity. So, you know, it would take many years in the workforce to develop the thinking, the confidence, the presentation skills, the practice through simulation and consulting projects that you're shortcutting through these 4 core cohort-style courses through the experience. And what you're really doing is giving people maturity that they otherwise wouldn't have. Right?
And I think that's what we hear from those who come and hire our students is that's one of the things that attracts them to our students is that level of maturity.
Now, one of the things students can do here in the undergraduate program is major in one of 8 different areas. And they have to declare their major, is it in the sophomore year?
It's after their sophomore year.
Now, why exactly then?
Well, I think with intentionality, you know, a lot of students aren't sure what all these business major opportunities are. And so giving students a chance to explore and encouraging them to explore as in their first 2 years, they're all required to take courses from each of the disciplines. And then we celebrate when they converge on what it is that they desire to complete as a major. And when I say celebrate, we really celebrate it. We have a signing day.
Really?
Yeah, where we have...
Why should the athletes have all that?
That's exactly right. Well, we bring in someone special. One year it was Levy Smith, our football coach. We've had the athletic director. And this past year we had Larry Gies, who gave us a lot of buzz among the students as they were waiting in line to shake his hand as he helped them reveal. That's right.
Yes, Larry and Beth were here.
As they reveal to the world on camera, on live streamed, so their parents can participate in it as well. Yeah. Kind of, this is where I've chosen to
so you make it a fun event.
Absolutely.
We absolutely do. And we do, while they're standing in line, we give them the information. They can text their parents. Parents can watch it live. It's really a fun event.
That's wild.
Yeah.
That's like drafting.
Huh?
Like football draft.
Yeah, I mean, we were inspired by how the athletes do it.
You took
we
the
just
sports
don't make
metaphor.
Them pick up a hat. We have them unroll a banner. Yeah, so that's the same idea.
And the most popular major at the school is something that the school is known for, world-renowned, in fact. It's accounting, right? Yes. So 40% of the undergraduate students here major in accounting. Yeah. And I thought, oh my God, wouldn't that be rather boring? But you have a chair of your accounting department who is an incredible dynamo, the most passionate advocate for accounting I've ever met in my life. She would make anyone want to study accounting.
That's right.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Why do you think, though, after all these years, still accounting is so strong and the preferred major of the largest chunk of undergraduates you have? What is it about accounting? And Kevin, you taught accounting here for many, many, many years.
I did.
Yes.
I think there's a couple things to consider. One is that, I think in some ways your reputation precedes yourself. And so there are some students who come to Gies College of Business because of the accounting program. And so that gives us, that's one reason why that proportion may be as large. But I also think, as you mentioned with Brooke, I mean, what we've talked about, what we've kind of described as kind of a culture of innovation and being cutting edge, I think that holds true for our individual discipline, our academic units. And accountancy is no different. It's set apart, again, being a front runner in the data analytics space. We have a fantastic fifth year accounting option that gives students the ability to concentrate in data analytics, to pursue data analytics with more rigor. And we also, practically, that placement rate of 99% isn't lost on the accounting field as well. We have a large presence of accounting firms that come and mentor our students and attend to them. And so I think there's several reasons why it's.
I love what Brooke says. I just want to get this out, okay? She says, we don't train accountants, we create leaders.
Yeah,
and if you love capitalism, you'll love accounting because it's the language of capitalism and business.
Yeah,
right?
It is.
Yeah.
And it really goes back a long way. I mean, if you think about it, this right here, where we are today in this college, is where the academic accounting profession was really built, all the way from the very beginning. And some of the early leaders in the field were on the faculty here. The textbooks that were used for many decades, the authors were faculty here. We have leaders at all of the major public accounting firms. We're one of the top couple of sources for Fortune 500 CFOs. I mean, it just goes on. And so after decades and decades of excellence and always being one of the, number one or number two, depending on the ranking in the year, you're then able to continue to attract the very best talent, both on the student side as well as on the faculty side. And so it perpetuates. And, as Kevin said, you walk around this building and you're going to see a lot of names of accounting alumni and accounting firms that have been very supportive of
including Larry Gies.
That's right. He was an accounting
and the current CFO at McDonald's and SoulCycle, among others.
And many more, on and on.
Yeah, exactly. And then the second most popular major here today is finance, right?
Yeah.
Is there a data analytics major or not?
There's not a data analytics major per se. I think that the approach that we've taken with data analytics has been to kind of instill that in all the spaces, all the different disciplines. There is an information systems major that is a little different than data analytics.
And that's another strength of the school.
It is. So let me, the way I think about business analytics, data analytics, is it's a really powerful set of tools, but it's most powerful when it is applied to a particular type of problem or business discipline. So we're integrating it into every one of our majors. So whether you're studying accounting or finance or marketing or strategy or supply chain, you are going to come out of here with strong training in business analytics, but you're going to be able to apply it to a set of questions and problems that's going to make it very applicable.
Right.
This campus, I know you realize, not only do we consider ourselves one of the great business schools, but I mean, we are on the campus of the University of Illinois, which is one of the best engineering programs anywhere in the world, one of the best computer science programs anywhere in the world, one of the best School of Information Sciences anywhere in the world. You just look across at the breadth and depth in the space, and that's something we can really leverage. So any student that wants to study data analytics has an embarrassment of riches when they come here, but we've decided to, our approach is to have them choose another major, and then they can go as deep as they want methodologically.
Great. Another thing that I think reflects on the culture is in the fall of last year, you launched a Living and Learning Center, a community. Talk a little bit about that. Why and what does it really do, and why is it a new attraction for students?
As we talked about, and I mentioned this with respect to the cohort courses, but really at the center of the culture that we want to build in Gies is a culture of community. And this represents kind of one of these platforms by which we can do that. And so the living learning community, the business living learning community, it's at one of the nicer residence halls on campus. It has students, not all the students in there are business students, but they all have an interest in business. I guess about half would be Gies students. And they are exposed to different types of programming. Some of it community building, some of it having to do more directly with business, some of it skill development, those types of things.
How does it play into the culture that you're trying to build and create and nurture?
Well, I think anytime we're trying to build community, it's about having shared experiences. And so in the business living learning community, they have programming like, a lock-in as part of their orientation.
What's a lock-in?
Where you bring them into a room and you lock them in.
Really?
Yeah.
But why?
Well, it's so that it's part of their orientation. It's a way to build rapport, provide them with a bond. It's a way for them to share what they hope to get out of becoming kind of a Gies student, or even different ways in which they view business. And then we have other, courses that were offered. We've offered a communications course right in the residence hall for students, part of the living learning community.
We bring guest speakers there on occasion.
Absolutely.
Lots of things. It's really a great opportunity for people to, as Kevin said, to be able to bond, socialize, create those relationships outside of the classroom as well. Right. And I can tell you it's very popular. We have far more students that want to live there than we have space for at the moment, and it's something we hope to continue to expand going forward.
So when students graduate from the Gies College, what do they say they most admire? What do they say that had the most impact on them? What are the kinds of experiences that you get feedback on?
So I'll start and then you can jump in, but where I was going to start is that we really try to allow each student to create their own experience. I mean, we don't let them go wild on curriculum. We're very intentional about what they learn here, but it really depends on which path the student chose. So, we encourage all of our students to get involved, and we have a lot of very active student organizations that have a business focus. So for some students, the answer to that is going to be, I was in the technology and management program joint with the College of Engineering, and that's where I developed my friendships, and that's where I developed all this knowledge and where I got the lead on the job that I now have. For other people, it's going to be Illinois Business Consulting, or maybe they were in the Investment Banking Academy, and that led them to learn a lot about the industry and end up with a job at one of the big investment banks. So it really is an individualized experience. I think what ties it all together, they all come out of here very happy because they've got a great job at a great firm, good pay, so they're off to and they're hitting the ground running. Right. And they look back and think they just had a good experience here. They developed friendships, they had faculty that were important to them, and so forth.
I think I would add a couple of things. One is that I think as far as experiences, I think study abroad, the opportunities that students have had when they've traveled abroad, and we've taken groups of students to Brazil, to South Africa, to Israel, and New Zealand. I mean, and students in those settings have all kind of raved about how it helped them see the world in a new way. The other thing I think that you hear, and I probably hear this more not from those who just graduated, but for students who graduated, maybe 5 years, they feel prepared not just for their first job out, but they feel prepared for their career. Maybe it's that second or third job where they're still going, I was prepared by my experience at Gies for that. And I think that is in my mind, I feel like that is the model of success of a business school, is when you're not so keyed in. We have a 99% placement rate, but we're preparing students for more than just that first job.
Right. I imagine a good reason for that 99% success rate is you're converting a lot of internship opportunities into full-time offers.
I'm sure.
So
It's one of many
right.
really important
Yeah.
elements. I mean, if you walk through our atrium today, you may have seen literally hundreds of new freshmen lined up. We're, 2-3 weeks into school, and they're all down there working with corporate partners who've sent people to spend the day here to do resume reviews. These are freshmen. They're on campus for just a couple of weeks. We really start working them from day one.
And they're gun-ho about it.
They are. They're excited.
I saw the
They're
lines
loving
were
it.
just
Waiting in line.
Right.
I mean, they're
Smiling. They're
yeah.
happy. They're taking the feedback and improving. So we really work with them from day one all the way until they graduate to make sure they're on a path. We have career advisors in addition to academic advisors. There's a plethora of opportunities in terms of companies coming through and speaking on any given day. You've got a number of tables down in our atrium that are full of corporate recruiters that are just talking to students, getting their company's name out. But yes, the internship is clearly a really important path to full-time jobs.
Yeah. Now, I'm sure that a lot of parents wonder about this, right? Because given the fact that you're a direct admit program, that essentially means that a junior or senior in high school has to know that they want to major in business. And I have to guess that most parents have kids that don't have a clue about what they want to do. And then even if they know they want to major in business, then they come here. But you give them 2 years to decide what major to take. But I'm wondering, what else do you do to help them find their way? Because even if they know and they're directed enough that they want a career in business, whatever that may mean to them, how do you help them choose the path that's right?
Well, I think there's a couple of things I would say. Is one is that once students are admitted into the college, there may be cases where they decide, okay, I'm not going to be in business, and so there are other options that, and thankfully we're at a university that has
a lot of options
and a lot of high quality options, so
Right.
that if for whatever reason, if you were able to get into the college, then you'll have other options within the university. But beyond that, as we talked about, we expose students fairly early on, not just curricularly, but we have our alums and corporate partners who send folks to come and speak to our students about what their jobs are like. The Career Services group in our college, they have very dedicated programming to help students better understand. As you say, a lot of students probably, like I was when I grew up, I didn't know what happened in those big buildings. And so there's a great attention given to, hey, let's expose students, let them know what type of jobs are attached to these different majors and those types of things. So we wouldn't expect students to come and have kind of a well-defined, this is what you do, and that's your track.
And to your point in your introductory remarks, by the time we graduate seniors, I'd say just a little under a third of the class actually came in as transfers from either other units on campus or from off campus. So there is a path for the student who comes here and just is undeclared major, or starts in engineering, decides they want to do business, or starts in English and wants to do business. We do have those opportunities to apply to transfer into Gies.
Right. The other thing you just started is an Undergraduate Success Lab.
Yeah.
Now, what's that all about?
I'm really excited about it, first off.
Kevin, is this your baby?
I wouldn't say it's my baby. I would say
He's very passionate about it, as we all are, but he really has taken a great lead on this.
I really think that we are stewards of the students that come into Gies College of Business, and I think we take that seriously, and we're ready and prepared and happy to invest in that stewardship role. We have students that may not have had an opportunity to, have exposure to what the college provides, what the obstacles they're likely to face. And we want to make sure that each student has their best chance to succeed in our college. So the Success Lab represents kind of that commitment where one, we count it as the first place where students can go if they have a question, a concern, or something that they need help with. So if they have, whether it's a financial crisis and they need to learn about our emergency scholarships for those who are kind of have financial emergencies, they can learn about that. They can go into the Success Lab and say, here's my plight. What options do I have? What are some resources? So the Success Lab plays a role in helping students find the resources that they need, whether it's financial, whether it's emotional or psychological. We now, just this year, we have a licensed counselor who resides in our space, or curricular. We have, in that Success Lab space, we have peer advisors, we have peer tutors, we have seminars. It really, again, is another one of these examples of how we do community here, how we have a stake in each other's success. Students are the ones that are overseeing many of the goings-on in the Success Lab, and we've trained them and given them ideas. Upperclassmen, but doesn't necessarily need to be upperclassmen, but being trained to know about the resources and the ways in which we can support students in a way that matters to them. So really excited about it, because it really, as I think about, as in the undergraduate space, like the two kind of North Stars for what we try to accomplish, given what we have influence over, it's about community and access. And the Success Lab really touches both of those in ways that is very gratifying for someone who values the success of the students.
It almost sounds like an Apple Genius bar for humans. You bring whatever problem you have, instead of bringing your iPhone, you bring yourself.
Yeah.
You bring yourself, absolutely.
But instead of relying on technology, you get a real human there to help you.
Indeed. Yeah. And I'm imagining that you probably had a number of these services, but they were spread out all over the place, and maybe more difficult to find and access. By having it in one place, it's sort of the central control command. Just go there and get it done.
This is where you start, you know, and we may kind of send you to a different place or provide you with some information about a different resource, but at least you know where you can start.
Going to college is often an anxiety-ridden journey, not only for students who are going away from home for often the first time in their lives, but even for the parents who wave goodbye to their kids. And I'm sure you've seen many tears outside dorm rooms on the campus over many years when parents drop off their kids for the first time. What can you say to ease the anxiety of both the student and the parent? What advice do you have for people who are taking this journey to sort of calm their nerves and to kind of transfer this fear of the unknown into this embrace of one of the most exciting opportunities in their life? Yeah. What do you say?
I think one thing you say is that they're cared for. Yeah. That there's been intentionality about all the things that we've planned for that student. But the second thing I would say is that you may be dropping them off, but you're not out of the loop. Because we intend to communicate with parents and give them a sense about what's going on in their student's life and their time here at Gies. We send out regular newsletters to the parents who can learn and get information about midterms are coming up. Here's how you might talk to your student. Maybe it's time to send a care package, those types of things. So we care about them, and they're not meant to be kind of just on-looking. They're part of the community as well.
Yeah. And we do, both at the college level as well as the university as a whole. There's lots of communication to parents. There's Facebook parent groups that people ask all kinds of questions on. I often tell people I'm a parent of 2 college students myself, and I have a new freshman at the U of I this year. So I've seen and experienced it, and I feel it. I've had some of those tears shed in our own household as kids are heading off to college. But I think what you're hearing today and what you're seeing when you walk around is the people here really, really care. We wake up every day motivated by concern for our students' well-being, concerns for their education, concerns for their future well-being, and so this is a pretty great environment for a student to be on that fast track to maturity, as you pointed out, but in a way that's safe and where they can take some risks and fail as well as succeed and learn from it and come out at the end of it, really ready to go out into the world and do great things.
So for someone who's interested in an undergraduate education at Gies, what advice do you have for them?
So someone who is still in high school? Yeah. Be authentic about your interests and about how you portray yourself in the admissions process. We do look at grades and test scores, but we look at a lot of other things too. And what we're really looking for are students who have demonstrated a commitment to something that could be anything from playing high school sports to being in the Boy Scouts to volunteering to being involved in a religious organization. We're looking for students that are not just spending their time sitting in a library, but are out trying to make a difference in the world.
And that's because you know that when they come here, they'll contribute to your culture, right? In part.
And because it's the skills they develop by doing that that are going to make them effective in the business world when they leave.
Yeah.
I think the only thing I would add is if a student is not yet used to new things, experience new things, grow in your openness to new things. We have a lot of students from a lot of different backgrounds, and that's what makes us strong and can make our experience a transformative experience if you allow yourself as a student to be open to meeting new people who come from kind of different backgrounds and different cultures. You can put yourself in a position to have a really, not only a rich experience, but as you said, to be in a position to contribute to the community as well.
And,
if I could add one other thing,
Please do.
I think it's important because we do have an important focus on access, both as a college and as a university. We're a public land-grant institution. And I would tell anyone that's watching this, if you're interested in coming to Gies, apply. Don't assume that financial reasons or others won't allow you to come. We as a campus recently unveiled something called Illinois Commitment, and if you're an in-state Illinois student and you are accepted here and your income is below the median income in the state, you come tuition free. So we're making some important financial commitments as well to make it possible for people to come here and access the great education we have. So really it's work hard, get involved, be authentic, be open to new experiences, and above all, apply.
and come visit.
And come visit.
I think you need to come and you need to touch and feel the culture, the atmosphere, have lunch with some students, sit in the class, be a fly on the wall, talk to people, get a sense for what it's going to be like before you come.
And I would encourage them not just to visit here, but to visit a number of different places because, at the end of the day, it often just comes down to students get sort of a gut feel about where they feel most at home and most comfortable. And I always tell them, listen to that gut, right? I mean, even if they decide, well, look, I really want to go to a different type of institution, that's fine. But making those college visits and meeting with students, meeting with faculty is really an important part of the process.
Jeff, thank you. Kevin, thanks very much.
Thank you, John.
Business with a Purpose at the Gies College of Business on the campus of the University of Illinois. This is John Byrne with Poets and Quants. Thanks for watching.